Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today, we're going to focus on writing a retell. You're going to write a retell of the story, A Cupcake Party. And this is from First Grade Journeys Lesson 10. So for this lesson, you will need a piece of paper and a pencil, because at the end of the lesson, you're going to challenge yourself and you're going to answer this question. What happened in the story? Write a retell. So if you need a piece of paper and pencil, don't have them with you, push pause, get your paper and pencil, and when you're ready to join us, push play. So you're going to write a retell at the end of this lesson, and we're going to use our stoplight colors. Green means go, that's the beginning. So the beginning or the start of the story. And you're going to say first, then we're going to slow down and go to the middle of the story. And you're going to write then, and then we're going to go to the end of the story or the finish, and we're going to say last. So here's our learning target. I can write a retell of the story, A Cupcake Party, using complete sentences. Success criteria. That means how will you know you're successful at writing a retell of A Cupcake Party? Well, here are our steps to success. We're going to do them one step at a time together and in this order. I will, number 1, say and match the characters and the setting. Number 2, say and match the lesson or moral of the story, what the characters learned. Number 3, put the retelling pictures in the correct sequence or order. Number 4, say and then write the sentences to each picture, saying what happened first, then, and last. And then finally 5, check my writing using my writing checklist. I'm going to give you a writing checklist to check your writing. All right. Is A Cupcake Party fantasy? And fantasy means things that cannot happen. Or is a cupcake party reality? And reality, things that can happen. So the genre or type of literature of A Cupcake Party is fantasy. Fantasy stories, here are our noticings. It's a make-believe story. Sometimes there are magical places. Magical things can happen. And for a cupcake party, animals act like humans. So in a fantasy story, animals might act like humans. Animals might wear clothes. There might be monsters, aliens, or dinosaurs. Animals might be extinct in real life. There can be events that can't happen, and the story might be funny. So characters. Characters are the people, animals, or objects in a story. Setting. Setting is where the story takes place. Sequence. Sequence is the order things happen in a story. So you would say first, next, last. And first is the beginning, next might be the middle, and then last would be the end. Beginning, middle, and end. So let's review what happened in A Cupcake Party. The characters are, who are the characters in the story? The characters are, the characters are the animals and Fritz. So the setting is where does the story take place? Say the setting is a tree and the forest. So let's put our pictures in the correct sequence or order. first, then, later, last. So look closely at the first picture. What happened first? First, Fritz. What is he doing? First, Fritz. Say it out loud. First, Fritz woke up and said, I must have a party. Then, what does Fritz do then? Then he takes, or he goes, or he invites. Well, then he went out his tree to ask all his friends on his list. So he has a list of all his friends and he invites them to the party. Later, what happens later? What is Fritz doing in this picture? Later, Fritz baked cupcakes and put a small picture on each one, a picture of all his friends. And last, what do the friends do? Last, the friends well, his friends take and eat cupcakes. They give Fritz a nut. In the end, everyone learned that a party is a lot of fun. All right, now that we've retold the story out loud, it's the end of our review. It's time to challenge yourself. You need your piece of paper and a pencil. If you don't have those things, push pause and go get a piece of paper and a pencil. And when you're ready, push play. You're going to answer this question. What happened in the story? Write a retell. So here it is, first, then last. But before we do that, I want to remind you to say each sentence out loud before you write it. And when we're writing, here's our writing checklist. When you write each sentence, make sure you use finger spaces between your words. Use punctuation. That means put a period at the end of your sentence. Use uppercase letters at the beginning of a sentence or a capital letter for the beginning of each of your sentences. Sound out any unknown words that you don't know how to spell. And then my favorite, reread each of my sentences. Read your sentences out loud. Do they make sense or did you leave out a word? So remember this as you write. So again, we're going to say what happened in the story, write a retell. We're using our traffic signal colors. Green means go. You're going to first retell the beginning of the story or the start. So you're going to write first, make sure you have a capital F for first. First, Fritz wants. He wakes up and what does Fritz want to do? So you are going to push pause and you're going to write the green sentence, the beginning of the story. What happened at the beginning? You're going to write this sentence down. First, Fritz wants. What does he want? He wants. So say your sentence out loud and write it. So push pause, write your green sentence, and when you're finished writing your complete sentence, push play. Okay, now we're going to slow down, use our yellow sentence, and we're going to talk about what happened in the middle of the story, the middle. What happens then? Then, after Fritz wants to have a party, what does he do then? Then he invites, he goes out and he invites. Who does he invite? So, what you need to do now is write the beginning of your yellow sentence. Then he invites, say your sentence out loud. He invites who? Then he invites, so push pause, write your sentence, your yellow sentence. Then he invites, and finish that. And when you're done writing your complete yellow sentence, push play to join us. Okay, now we're going to talk about what happens at the end of the story or the finish. So you're going to say last. So make sure you write a capital L for last. Last, what's happening in the picture? Last, his friends. What do his friends do? Last, his friends. So say your sentence out loud. Write your complete red sentence. Make sure you push pause. Write your red sentence. And when you're finished with your red sentence, push play. All right, let's check your work. Check each of your 3 sentences. Remember our writing checklist. Did you put finger spaces between each of your words for your first sentence, your second sentence, and your third? Did you use punctuation like periods at the end of each of your sentences? Did you use an uppercase letter at the beginning of each of your sentences? Did you sound out any unknown words that you didn't already know how to spell? And my favorite, reread each of your sentences. Do they make sense? So push pause, check your work using this checklist. And when you're finished checking your work, push play. All right, how do you think you did with your learning target? I can write a retell of the story A Cupcake Party using complete sentences. On the top of your paper, I want you to write either for, I could teach this lesson. I easily retold the story in writing using the sentence starters. I also used my writing checklist for all my sentences. Would you give yourself a 4? Or would you give yourself a 3? I retold the story in writing using my sentence starters. I also used my writing checklist for most of my sentences. Or would you give yourself a 2? I retold some of the story in writing and used the writing checklist for some of my sentences. Or 1, I did not retell the story and did not use my writing checklist. How do you think you did? 4, 3, 2, or 1? Write your reflection on the top. And then when you're ready, we're moving on. You can check your work with my retell. What happened in the story? First, Fritz wants to have a party. So our first screen sentence could be first, Fritz wants to have a party. Then he invites his friends to the party and bakes cupcakes. So our yellow sentence could be then he invites his friends to the party and bakes cupcakes. Last, his friends eat the cupcakes and give Fritz a nut. So our red sentence could be last, his friends eat the cupcakes, and give Fritz a nut. So first, Fritz wants to have a party. Then he invites his friends to the party and bakes cupcakes. Last, his friends eat the cupcakes and give Fritz a nut. All right, boys and girls, thank you for writing with me today. Have a great day.